This is the third part. So there I am explaining you about the Bernier's travel in Mughal Empire and is marked by a detailed observation. So he was a very critical observer and he looked at everything with a very detailed way, with the comparison way. He also constantly compared Mughal India with the present Europe. Okay, so Bernier described the differences which he observed that India seems to be inferior to the Western world. So he keeps on recording, he keeps on uh, writing the work of the people. Okay, whatever he see. Understood? Now we are coming to the next topic, that is the question of the land ownership. So there was a question according to the Bernier. One of the fundamental difference between the Mughal India and the Europe was the private property and the land in the former. There was a belief that Bernier describes Indian society as a constant consisting of different consisting of undifferentiated masses of improvised people subjected by a small minority of very rich and the powerful ruling class. So he can just explain you about here the zamindari system. During the Mughal Empire, there was a system which is known as the सिस्टम ऑफ ज़मींदारी. देयर वॉज अ किंग और अ सुल्तान जिनका नाम यहाँ बताया गया है. द मुगल एम्पायर शाही owned all the land. He distributed the land among the nobles. So there was a king who distributed his all of the land with the people. Okay, they are nobles. All right. Then the landholder were not allowed to pass their land to their children. Due to that, people were not in the favor to invest for increasing the production. Yes, it is also explained by the Bernier that people in India, they did not transfer their land to their children so that it can be divided into a further division that cannot lead to a more production. And then the crown ownership land prevented the emergence of the improved class, the landlord, as in the Western Europe. It had oppressed by the peasantry. So we know that how the system in the Europe, there is the order system and peasantry don't own any land. So he also compare his situation with the Indian context. Then there was no middle class in India. Bernier mentioned that the Mughal king was the king of the beggar and the barbarians. The cities and the crown were not in the good condition, filled were full of bushes and masses. Abul Fazl, a Mughal official, Akbar's period in 16th century, described the land revenue or as remunerations of sovereignty. There was a tax on the crop. So Bernier also explained you about the there is no middle class in the Mughal official system. There was a person that is known as Abul Fazl, a great friend and a court person of Akbar regime in the 16th century. He has done a very tremendous job. He has written down the Kitabul Hind in 3 volumes. There he explained you about the remuneration of the sovereignty, how we can make our area, how we can make our region more prosperous, more developed. Okay, so he had just mentioned and in a very good title. And then there was another description of your French philosopher. If you see the second paragraph, third line, the French philosopher Montesquieu expressed that the ruler in Asia enjoyed the complete authority over their subject. Yes, of course. So it is explained here that by the professor and the philosopher Montesquieu that in Asia the ruler occupy all the things. The ruler is ruled by everyone. Okay. Then in the 19th century, the Karl Marx descriptions also developed here, that idea of Asiatic pattern of productions. So in the third paragraph it is explaining you about the 19th century situation by the Karl Marx, where it is the colonialism and the surplus opportunity for the state. Okay, and there is a flow of surplus and unimpeded that regret as a stagnant system. All right, now then we have a last section, that is the imperial court respected the autonomy of village community. Stagnant system was prevented in the village. Okay, then here is a stagnant system is especially your the system which is controlled by your land by one particular big landlord. His descriptions influenced the Western theories from 18th century onward, and this idea was further developed as the concept of Asiatic mode of production by the Karl Marx in the 19th century. Then in your 16th to 17th century you're going to learn this particular topic in 8th chapter. There you will learn about the society, the differences, okay, the spectrum of the big and the small landlord, the untouchable things, the big peasants, the small peasant, the laborers. So you will all going to read about this description in detail in class 12 chapter 8. Now we are going to learn a close look to the a more complex social reality. Okay, so Bernier mentioned that the Mughal Empire was as a tyrannical अभी हम आपको समझाते हैं ये क्या है. His description occasionally hint at a more complex and social reality. So whatever he is observing, it is very confusing, it is very complex. Artisans were not motivated to improve the quality of their product because the profit was shared by the state. So यहाँ पे कोई भी मोटिवेशन नहीं दिया जा रहा क्राफ्ट पर्सन को कि आप और चीज़ें बेहतर करिए और प्रॉफिट कमाइए. Then manufacturer exported in the exchange of gold and silver. He also observed that the presence of rich merchant community was engaged in far distant exchanges. So there is a manufacturer who has everywhere is declining because they are depend on the silver and gold, and you know that everybody don't have a quantity of silver and gold in their home. So there is a decline in the manufacture as well. Okay, there is no authentic or a paper system or a coin system. Then 15% of population, okay, 15% of population lived in the town during the 17th century. The ratio was counted much better than the ratio of the urban population of the Europe. So here again Bernier give the clear differences that how much percentage of people live in the town area as compared to the European countries. According to the Bernier, Mughal towns were considered as a camp town that would depend upon the imperial camp for their development. So according to the Bernier, the Mughal Empire, the area was completely depend upon the हेल्प ऑफ द इम्पीरियल कैंप, यानी कि जो सपोर्ट हमें बाहर से मिलेगा, हमारे किंग से मिलेगा, उतना ही हम डेवलपमेंट अपने एरिया में कर पाएंगे, ये चीज़ बताई गई है. देन हियर इट इज़ ऑल्सो एक्सप्लेन यू मेनी काइंड ऑफ टाउन्स वर existed at that time: manufacturing town, trading town, port town, sacred or a religious center, and pilgrimage town. So it is giving you the overall description about the area where the zamindar, peasants, artisans lives. Okay, and some of the local names were also given here, जैसे आपका दिया है महाजन, सेठ. ओके, ये वर्ड्स हमने अपने प्रीवियस चैप्टर्स में भी कवर अप किए हैं. I just request you to go back to your previous chapter and revise these terms. Okay, there is a Hakim, Vaid, okay, पुंडिल और मुल्ला. तो ये सारी चीज़ें आपका इंग्लिश ट्रांसलेशन में भी दिए गए हैं. तो ये सारे ग्रुप ऑफ पीपल आपको अर्बन एरिया में दिखते हैं और आज के टाइम पे भी हमें ऐसे ही लोग अपनी सोसाइटी में दिखते हैं. ओके, देयर इज़ नो चेंजेस. ऑलराइट, now we are coming to the last portion of this chapter, that is women slaves, sati and laborers. So women's contribution in history is consider as a very low, but I consider is very important, because if you see, the most of the information or most of the concept was cleared by the woman only. For example, that woman participated, that simply means there is education or not. अगर वुमेन्स पार्टिसिपेट कर रही हैं तो सोसाइटी में एजुकेशन थी. अगर वुमेन्स पार्टिसिपेट नहीं कर रही हैं किसी भी रिचुअल में, किसी भी अच्छे ऑफिशियल काम में, तो इसका मतलब ये है कि नॉलेज जो इक्वालिटी है वो वहाँ पे नहीं थी. सो वुमेन्स डिस्क्रिप्शन इज़ रियली वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. नाउ इब्न बतूता वॉज अ फॉरेन रूलर हु विजिटेड इंडिया ड्यूरिंग द रीजन ऑफ